Hey, my friends, we will be right back to the show. But I have a question for you. Are you struggling with the impact of childhood trauma? Well, know that you're not alone. I'm here to let you know that I'm starting a brand new weekly coaching group that includes a year of life coaching, accountability, support, habit and goal setting, and more. I'm starting a waitlist for the group right now, and I'm only taking a handful of people. And I'll let you know that through this personalized coaching, we'll work together to help you understand how your childhood trauma has shaped your beliefs, behaviors, emotions, and will help you create a roadmap for healing and growth. Right now, you can schedule an absolutely free coaching session with me and get put on the wait list if you go to thinkunbroken.com. My friends, it's your time to turn your trauma into triumph, breakdowns into breakthroughs, and become the hero of your own story. And I'm here to support you in doing that. Just go to thinkunbroken.com to register for a free coaching call with me and to get put on the wait list for the brand new weekly coaching program. We'll be right back to the show. But before we do, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, factormeals.com, where if you go to factormeals.com/unbroken50 and use the code unbroken50, you can get 50% off your first order. That's factormeals.com/unbroken50. If you're like me and you are a person who is busy trying to create a life, heal, work on their health, wealth, and relationships, and not to mention deal with the day-to-days of normal life, you do not have time to be going to the grocery store and trying to figure out what you're going to cook every single day of the week. In fact, one time I did the math and I realized I was spending over 15 hours a week at the grocery store and cooking. When I added Factor, I got to use that time for myself, for my family, for my friends, for my community, and for my business. And so if you're in the place where you need some more support in the kitchen, head to factormeals.com/unbroken50 and use the code unbroken50 to get 50% off. Hey, my friends, we will be right back to the show. But I have a question for you. Are you struggling with the impact of childhood trauma? Well, know that you're not alone. I'm here to let you know that I'm starting a brand new weekly coaching group that includes a year of life coaching, accountability, support, habit and goal setting, and more. I'm starting a waitlist for the group right now, and I'm only taking a handful of people. And I'll let you know that through this personalized coaching, we'll work together to help you understand how your childhood trauma has shaped your beliefs, behaviors, emotions, and will help you create a roadmap for healing and growth. Right now, you can schedule an absolutely free coaching session with me and get put on the wait list if you go to thinkunbroken.com. My friends, it's your time to turn your trauma into triumph, breakdowns into breakthroughs, and become the hero of your own story. And I'm here to support you in doing that. Just go to thinkunbroken.com to register for a free coaching call with me and to get put on the wait list for the brand new weekly coaching program. Hey, my friends, we will be right back to the show. But I have a question for you. Are you struggling with the impact of childhood trauma? Well, know that you're not alone. I'm here to let you know that I'm starting a brand new weekly coaching group that includes a year of life coaching, accountability, support, habit and goal setting, and more. I'm starting a waitlist for the group right now, and I'm only taking a handful of people. And I'll let you know that through this personalized coaching, we'll work together to help you understand how your childhood trauma has shaped your beliefs, behaviors, emotions, and will help you create a roadmap for healing and growth. Right now, you can schedule an absolutely free coaching session with me and get put on the wait list if you go to thinkunbroken.com. My friends, it's your time to turn your trauma into triumph, breakdowns into breakthroughs, and become the hero of your own story. And I'm here to support you in doing that. Just go to thinkunbroken.com to register for a free coaching call with me and to get put on the wait list for the brand new weekly coaching program. Hey, what's up, Unbroken Nation? Hope that you're doing well wherever you are in the world today. I'm very excited to be back with you with another episode with my guest, Dr. Ruth Allan. Dr. Ruth Allan, how are you today, my friend? What is going on in your world?
I am absolutely brilliant today. It's a sunny UK day, which is very rare. So I'm enjoying the heat of the of the sun that we finally got here in the UK for the summer. So exciting.
Yeah, I lived in Corridon for a bit, and I was like, at one point, I was like, "Is the sun ever going to come out here?" So I understand that entirely. For those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today.
So I'm a certified brain health professional and high performance coach, and I really help people win back energy and time doing what they love through the lens of brain health. But I got there through a very unexpected route, and that was particularly back in 2016. I thought I was on track for promotion in a firm and worked my socks off, gave up loads of time, gave up family time, doing what I loved to get myself in that position of promotion, smashed all the firm's targets that they set for me. And around that time, also wanted to make a family, and I got pregnant. It was super exciting. And just before the year end, I had a miscarriage, which was really traumatic. And straight after that, I was put on a very unexpected performance review by the firm. And they told me I had no emotional intelligence. And that was just a real shock to the system because I already felt like a biological failure. And then to be told that I was an emotional failure, I quickly started spiraling downhill and started having suicidal thoughts that I wasn't enough. And so I reached out for coaching, first in the form of high performance coaching, and then subsequently discovered brain health coaching through the work by Dr. Daniel Amen in the States, and realized that really joined the dots between what I'd done as a PhD student on medical imaging and spectroscopy and what I love to do, which is help people optimize their self and get the best out of themselves and really truly harness their potential. So it really connected the two for me. And I went on an amazing transformational journey, lost 27 pounds in weight, became the fittest I've ever been, went on a ski touring expedition, which was one of my bucket lists across the French Alps, skiing from Chamonix to Zermatt, for those that may know that region. But it was a 6-day expedition across the Alps on skis. And 8 months later, our daughter Lily was born. So it was a truly transformational experience from what was a very dark place for me personally. And subsequently trained as a certified brain health professional through the Amen clinics. And that's what I do now here in the UK, is help people get the best out of their engine of life, which is their brain.
Yeah, I love that, and congratulations. I think that's kind of like a blindsiding experience, right? I've mentioned it on the show a couple of times, but when I was 24, and obviously I do not relate in the same capacity, but when I was 24, my girlfriend at the time, she had a miscarriage, and it was like devastating.
Mm.
And that piled on with your employment telling you that you have no emotional intelligence. I'm like, that's like a holy shit moment, right? Where you're kind of like, what is happening right now? How did Here's what's interesting thought is, how could they possibly determine that? Like, what happened? Did you sit down and take a test? Like, is there a bell curve? Like, what is going on here?
No, of course it didn't. It was all someone's perception or
Mm,
people's perception. And I think it was really, we weren't the right fit for each other. And that was their way of ousting you out of the system. Um, People I spoke to who were in the firm said that some of their feedback that they gave as part of my performance review was being twisted, um, to reflect what the firm wanted to portray. So, and I know I'm not the only one that's been in this position. At the time you think your whole world is crashing in and you're all alone, but you realise that actually a lot of people have experienced, whether it in the firm that I was working for or other big fours in the city or beyond, have had unpleasant experiences where you think you're doing really well, nobody tells you that you aren't, and then suddenly get to your year end and despite all the metrics saying something different, you get told the opposite. So
yeah, totally. And that's such a part of like the corporate experience. I worked for a Fortune 10 company when I was a
mm.
kid, and like they did not give two fucks about you, right? And it's like that's such a part of the global society of commerce, unfortunately. What I think a lot of people are driven by this idea. They're like, I want to go and I want to go be a professional and I want to wear the suit and tie to work or the pantsuit, like whatever it is, carry a briefcase. Like that was kind of my idealization of
Yeah.
success as a kid. I was like, oh, if I can get to that, that means maybe I'm doing things right. And I realized like often there's a lot of sacrifice involved in that. And you mentioned it, you were sacrificing time with your family. I'm sure you
Oh,
probably weren't taking care of yourself since you lost
no,
27
not at all.
pounds, right? All of those things happening. So what happened in your life in that moment that actually inspires you to create change? Because I think that happens to a lot of people and nothing comes from it. But why were you inspired to do something different in that time?
That's a really great question because I actually joined the firm that I worked for because I was previously an entrepreneur running my own business. And I thought, "Do you know what? I want to see the different side of the fence and see what it's like being an employee." And I joined the firm specifically to get personal development opportunities and get all the training and experience that the firm offered. Um, and actually, that point when I was told I had no emotional intelligence, I reached out to the firm and said, "Well, I'd like some coaching, please, to help me." And they said, "Oh, no, I'm really sorry. You're not the right grade to get coaching." And I was like, "Oh, okay." That's an interesting thing. So I had to write my own performance plan, get assessed against the performance of my own performance plan to prove that I could perform better, and they wouldn't give me the professional coaching support. So I thought to myself, I've got control here because I had my own business previously, and I have the power to get the support that I need. And so I paid for the coaching myself, the professional coaching that I wanted to have. And I started with a business coach who really kind of focused on the business issue, which was this performance review. And he was a really great coach, and he helped me realize it wasn't me. The firm, there were a lot of moving parts beyond just me as being the problem, and reaching out to a high performance coach. My coach was Diane Schrock, who was part of the High Performance Academy. She's actually an emotional intelligence coach, and she quickly helped me realize that it wasn't just me; it was the system that was broken. And that's how I pulled myself out: is taking back control and not allowing people to um, steal my own personal power, which is what they, in essence, had done in the corporate space, as I wasn't able to be myself. I got told, "Oh, you're too rough around the edges. You need to be cut." I said, I was likened that I was an oval and I needed to become a circle. And it's like, well, stars don't fit in circular holes. You don't want to get rid of the spot, pointy edges, because you want, you know, that star to shine brightly. If you think about back to your kids games, and that I might be a bit pointy and I might be a bit rough at times and a bit direct, but that's me, and that's just the way I am. And yes, I have softened, of course, because I've been through this coaching journey and I've looked at myself in the process. Um, but I think the core thing there was that I wasn't able to show up as me in that company. It was diminishing me. And so taking back control of who I was and who I wanted to be and where I wanted to go was always there. And I'd just given it away as
Yeah.
being part of that entity of that firm.
And so many people do, and it's you're not playing the game, right? And that's kind of what it is. I must have gotten a bazillion performance reviews working corporate before I went on my own and started my own businesses. And I got kicked out of team meetings. I would get kicked out of, like, people would be like, if you say one more thing, like, you're out of here. And I'd be like, yeah, but you guys don't get it. Like, here are the answers. Here are the things that make sense. And look, I'm not going to say sometimes I wasn't wrong, because I assuredly was,
Yeah.
but to work for companies where you're not and I don't even know if necessarily validated is the right phrase that I want to use, but to work for companies and corporations in which you are not appreciated, like, for your words, and you're given the space to speak up, which is the entire point of working for a company. Yeah, you got to dip, because that's going to end up really bad. And that's obviously what happened for you.
Mm.
And so you're in this transformation, you're seeing the impact that coaching is having on your life. I can relate to that entirely. It's a huge reason why I am a coach today.
Mhm.
And in that, what starts to transform in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, in your energy, like what are some of the telltale signs of growth for you in this?
So I think the biggest shift for me was so that the obvious one that was really rock bottom when I started was energy, which is really what I focus on in my coaching now. So my energy at the time was rock bottom. So
And
it was
energy, define that, please.
so having been able to get out of bed in the morning, you know, was one of
Mm.
the first things. When you're in a really dark place, I was just sick all the time. You know, I was sick with sinus problems. I was struggling to. I was always crying all the time. I was exhausted emotionally. I was exhausted physically. I was exhausted mentally, just because of all of the rubbish that I was having to deal with in the firm. And you know, and I was exhausted spiritually because I wasn't doing what I was passionate about. And the big shift that started me realizing, do you know what? This is not me. This is the firm. Was when I were at the time I'm in the military as a reservist. This is not the firm. This is was a separate thing. But I'm a military ski instructor, and I was asked to lead a team of people in the Alps, teach them skiing, and that's part of my reservist commitment. And when I was doing that, it was a really stressful environment, really complex personalities, and I did perfectly fine. I was the only instructor on the trip, which is very rare, and I did totally fine doing all of that and delivered it, you know, exceptional results, and everyone was super happy and pleased with me. And I couldn't have been put in a harsher environment, whiteouts all the time, a diverse range of experiences, and I performed at my best, and I wasn't stressed, I wasn't flustered or anything. But as soon as I put myself back into the work environment that I was in and exposed to, I just turned into a, a crumbly mess kind of thing. I just didn't want to be there. It was like this flight thing. And so it was a real sign that, do you know, it's how important your environment is for you to flourish. And once I realized that it wasn't just me, it was the toxicity of the environment, and that includes people, that really allowed me to shift the lens to putting the power back into myself and knowing that, do you know, I can own this. I've got this. I know I've got it. There are examples of how I can do it, and I can pull myself out of this rut. And that really started me on that trajectory. And then the second one was when I went to the High Performance Academy live in the States, when I decided at the academy that this was my time to train as a coach, as a high performance coach at that time. And I was going to hand my notice in at work because it was just not serving me, and go back to being an entrepreneur, which was what I loved. And as soon as I got back, I handed my notice in, and served my term, which was unfortunately a bit longer than it is for you guys in the States, um, but and then left. So
Yeah. Is that when you got into that training, is that HPX? Is that Brendan Burchard's?
yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So Brendan is actually what I would call my original mentor.
Oh, is it?
100%. Like without that dude, I would not be here right now.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's really interesting that when you look at and you understand all of the things that create high performers, it's really never anything about money. It's never about accolades. It's never about accomplishments. It's about how you show up as yourself every day. Like, are you in your habits that make your life better? Are you assessing yourself? Like his HPX journal's unbelievable. I stopped
Yeah.
using it because I feel like I'm really in tune with myself these days. But, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, it was an awesome thing that I did. And I think that people who will get into coaching or find coaching will find that Brandon is like the OG in the game. There's a lot of people doing it, but like him, Tony Robbins, like I always kind of go to those guys first and
Yeah.
foremost. So I resonate a lot because he's played a massive role in my life. One of the things that I'm curious about, so as you're going through that, like being in person in that environment, which I know it's just got to be like mind melting, right? Like what are you like what is happening in real time? Because I think like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to go get a coach or I'll go get a coaching certification and then everything's going to be different. But like there's steps, there's progress, right?
Right,
When
exactly.
you're here and you're witnessing and you're looking at it and you're like, there's opportunity here. Like, what is actually going through your mind that's leading you to, I'm going to go quit my job?
Yeah. So I think the first thing one of the first sessions we did with my coach, which is the first session you do when you do the high performance coaching program, is to get clarity. And to get, I was all over the place in terms of where I was, but I had quite good clarity as to where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. And you don't have to have, you don't have to have the supervision um, in your mind, but it's helpful to know, okay, by the end of this week, this month, this quarter, this year, this is what I want my life to look like, and this is where I want to be, and then and just kind of really visualizing um, the struggle, which Brendan talks about as honor the struggle. It is visualizing that it's not going to be an easy road. It's going to be bumpy. It's going to be rocky. You're going to fall over, but just keep going. So I think the big one for me was just doing the clarity initially. Energy, as I said, was rock bottom when we did the energy session, and so there was a huge focus, as you said, um, on my nutrition because I was comfort eating. At the time when I was at the firm, I was drinking copious quantities of wine, excuse me, in the evening to numb the pain of the situation. I was eating desserts like there was no tomorrow. I would have a double latte in the afternoon with double shot of coffee to get me over the energy slump in the afternoon, and that would be coupled with a brownie. So I was had all the really bad enjoyable, obviously, because it's a nice quick fix, but as a long term pain, um, eating habit that I had to turn around.
Hey,
And
what's
once
up, Unbroken Nation? We'll be right back to today's episode, but I want to take a moment and invite you to Think Unbroken Conference. That's right, our next conference is happening right around the corner this December with amazing speakers from around the world who are leaders in personal development, trauma education, mindset, and more. All you have to do to register to watch for free, that's right, $0. Come and join us, is go to myunbrokenlife.com, register and sign up. You can get access to the free event. Watch it live with us this December. It'll be myself speaking along with amazing human beings like Anthony Trucks, Jamie Bronstein, Leslie Logan, and a special interview that I'm doing with Dr. Gabor Mate that has never before been released. So come and join us, myunbrokenlife.com. All you have to do is put in your email. We'll send you over the registration. You'll be able to come and join us, watch live. And then if you want access to the recordings, there's more information there for you to keep them forever. But in the meantime, go sign up, block it off on your calendar. This is going to be a transformational experience that you do not want to miss. Head over to myunbrokenlife.com to register for free. Until next time, be unbroken.
and once I kind of paid attention to that, and you kind of think, well, God, you're a ski instructor, don't you know all this stuff? But you don't, because you kind of think you're invincible, and you're invincible until the point that you break. And then you realize you're not invincible anymore and that you actually are human. And you have to do the work to fix yourself. So that was really, it was a really big learning journey about myself personally and understanding what my strengths are and not letting people diminish that and letting my own self-talk diminish it as well was really key too, is pulling out the strengths that I can leverage to move myself forward on that trajectory. So
And that was there where for myself when I went through a lot of the beginning of this journey, and even still today, depending on what it is, there is this massive reframing that takes place, this massive kind of sitting down, creating acknowledgement, looking at how I got to where I was, and then making these shifts. Now obviously with the work that you do around brain health, neuroplasticity plays a huge role in this, right? Understanding how all of the aspects of your brain work, from your prefrontal cortex to your hippocampus, and all of those things like play a massive, massive role. What do you think is a piece of information about brain health that you've learned that changed your life forever?
Oh, wow. That's such a good question. I think the biggest thing, bearing in mind, my medical imaging and spectroscopy was not associated with the brain, but of skin, looking at skin cancer. I think the biggest thing for me was knowing that I had the power to change my brain. So we kind of, people grow up with this concept that once your brain, if your brain is broken, you can't fix it, and it's totally not true. Or we give our power away to the medical profession to expect them to fix it. And actually, they don't have very much power at all in the scheme of being able to fix your brain. A lot of that power sits with you, and a lot of it sits within your mindset, and your software, your programs that you have in your mind are running. What programs are operating, and being aware of all the programs that are operating in your mind. You know, if you think your brain is you've got your hardware, which is physically what you're born with, and how fast your processor works, and then your software is all the programs that get inserted into your brain through the course of your life. And you have an awful lot of influence over both of those. You can upgrade your hardware, and you can you can upgrade your software, and can purge or cleanse the software that isn't serving you. And I think that was really the biggest thing, is just learning that I can fix I can fix my brain. I have the power to change it. I'm not stuck with the brain I have. I can make it better. And there's so many different ways in which you can do that. And that's what I love to do with people now, is they have so much more control than they think they have, in terms of shaping their mindset and then shaping their future.
What do you think is the biggest thing that you changed in your own brain?
I stopped poisoning it,
Mm.
because I was poisoning it with. I used to drink so much alcohol as a kid, and I don't know. I know you had a few tendencies yourself, but I used to drink just stupid amounts of alcohol from a very young age, and especially in the context of being a reservist, there is their propensity to use it as a social tool. It's much less so now, but um, 20 years ago, it was very much we do sport to go and drink in the pub here in the UK. That's what we we do. There's always a pub associated, a drinking establishment associated with many sports, and so I just used to ruin my brain with vast quantities of alcohol, right up until I learned how much damage it was doing to me, both from a killing my brain cells, which we all get taught but don't really necessarily pay attention to, and decreasing my cognitive function. And we use it as a numbing tool, so it turns off your prefrontal cortex, which is your logical thinking part of your brain, so you can't think clearly. And that's when we often do stupid things, if we're under the influence of alcohol, because we've turned off the adult part of our brain, and we've gone back to sort of child state. And it can heighten, or depending on the brain type you have, is obviously numb your emotional senses as well. So I think that was the biggest one, is really um, taking a radical new perspective on what toxins I've been shoving into my brain. One being the alcohol, and the second being sugar.
Mm.
So I think that was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I can tell you right now that all of the dumbest things I've ever done in my life involved alcohol or drugs. All of them. Every time I'm like, I was literally just thinking about this morning. about one of the experiences I had in my early 20s out at bars with friends. And it's like, we would just, it's like the more you can drink, the better. And I'm not anti-drink, live your best life, right? That's what I
Yeah.
always think. But like, pay attention pay attention because a lot of those things that we're doing that we're consuming they're taking away from us, they're taking away from your ability to be successful, to be a great parent, to be physically fit. When
Yeah.
I've had my own battles with sugar and alcohol, eliminating both of them from my life at various points of time, it's like you coming back to where you kind of started, it's like you get massive clarity. Like
Yeah.
how can you understand who you are when you're constantly like numbing, when you're constantly putting poison in your body? And that's what's so crazy about alcohol, especially. It's literally poison,
It
right?
is, yeah.
And
And
and I please.
I was just going to say it is, but it doesn't go just into your brain. It wipes out your gut, and your gut is is called your second brain. So we all have, like, thanks to COVID, has reminded us of the importance of alcohol in terms of killing bacteria. Well, that's what we shove into our gut. So if
Mm,
you're wiping out the gut, good bugs in your gut as well as the bad bugs. So you're depleting all of that lovely gut micro uh, microbiota or microbiome, um, that's so important for not only your gut health but your brain health, because not up to 90% of the neurotransmitters that help your brain function are made in your gut. So it has a double, at least a double whammy effect on your body. And obviously it goes into your liver and damages your liver, and your kidneys have to work harder as well. And so it's just, it's not something that loves you back,
yeah,
even if you do
that's
love it.
That's such a great point. And not that we're going to harp on this, but I remember seeing those commercials, or it may not even be commercials, just research studies, quote unquote, that a glass of wine a day is not bad for you. And then you come to find out that those studies are actually sponsored by the alcohol companies. So, you might want to double think that. And again, if you want to
Yeah.
drink, like whatever, I don't give a shit. Like that's up to you to figure
Well,
out for
it's up to
yourself.
you, isn't it?
It's just like understand first, like have the information. So
Yeah.
when you're working with clients, what is the biggest thing that people are coming to you for?
So majority of people come to me because they can either relate to my story and they feel that they're in a similar space, where they're feeling burned out, or, not having the support that they need, or they're not taking the time to look after themselves. Or what is becoming um, more prevalent is people are not being served by the medical profession in the way that they need to be, to take back control of their brain health. It's just the support that they need to be in charge of their health and well-being, and know the steps that are necessary to get the best out of their engine of life, are not they're not being served by medicine in its traditional form. And so they'll come to me, and I fill the gaps between coaching and the medical profession, and bridge it really to help educate people and equip people with the right tools so that they know how their engine of life is working, whether it's working too hard or not working hard enough, and then refer them to specialists as appropriate if they need medical intervention and they want it. And if they don't want it, then we carry on, and I refer people to other specialists outside the medical profession to help them get the best out of themselves. So I think that's really what I know. It's quite broad, but I mean, I have people ranging from 7 years old who've been missed by medicine, and struggling with their brain and whole body health, to people who are nearing retirement. So it's quite a broad range of individuals who I serve.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense to me. When looking at your journey and working with clients, what do you think is outside of eliminating alcohol, tobacco, sugar? drugs, probably. What are some of, or if not some, maybe even the most important other thing that people can be doing to take care of their brain health?
Yeah. So I'm just going to touch on the 5 pillars of brain health because I think these all kind of touch into the same thing. So the first one is feelings. So remember it by the mnemonic facts. Let's look at the facts. So the first one is feelings. Often people don't pay attention to their feelings, or they deliberately choose to ignore them. And feelings are a signal. They're a signal that we want to move towards something, or they're a signal that we want to move away from something. And not paying attention to them doesn't make them go away. It actually amplifies them because you bury them inside your mind, and your mind still wants to communicate to you that there's an issue and you need to take some action. So what ends up happening is it takes action for you, and the action it takes tends to express it in another way. So it'll express it to you physically. You'll either get aggressive, as one classic example. That's sort of the lower end of the spectrum. You'll start getting hives or physical symptoms of stress because you're not paying attention to your emotions and your feelings, or it express it over the longer term in chronic illnesses and diseases such as cancer. Can be, it's been now they're seeing that's attributed to unaddressed trauma, emotional trauma, which is a lot of work by Dr. Gabor Mate. So that's the first one, feelings. The next one is thoughts. So that's T is for thoughts. And paying attention to the thoughts. And I know you talk about this in your amazing book, Think Unbroken, but we often know that they're like the background operating system. We're often our own worst enemy. We wouldn't say the things to our worst enemy that we say to ourselves, but we say it to ourselves all the time. And it's paying attention to the thoughts that you're having, the beliefs that you're adopting. And often that goes back to what we've been told as a child, through whatever experience you may have happened, or for me, I could be adopting that I've got no emotional intelligence as my labeler for me for the rest of my life. But I mean, that's just something that, a couple of people have said. It's not true. And I believed it at the time. Of course you do, but I did the work to break that thought pattern, and prove to myself and to the world that thought is not true, and they can think it, but that doesn't mean I have to believe it. So I think that those are the two things that are the most important that people don't pay enough attention to, and they both completely control you. So your thoughts drive your emotions drive your actions. So we've done feelings and thoughts. The other one is actions. So facts, going A is for actions. C is how we connect with ourselves and others. So often we have a very poor relationship with ourselves, and the relationship we have with ourselves reflects the relationships we have with others. So first of all, we need to fall in love with ourselves, in order to effectively love other people, because we just exude often, um, most of the time subconsciously, if we're not aware, is how we are treating ourselves will reflect on how we treat others. And then finally, S is our surroundings. So feelings, actions, connections, thoughts, and surroundings is paying attention to the surroundings that you're in and the surroundings of the people you have around you. Going back to the toxic people, um, and making sure that you rid yourself of toxins, whether that's what you're ingesting or who you're seeing, and that you're growing a garden that's going to be fruitful, rather than rotten.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think all of that is super profound because it's, there I, I used to think like, oh, if I just do this one thing, everything will be different. And then I realized it's actually doing a lot of different things all the time that makes life different. And I love this conversation. Thank you so much for spending time with us here today. Before I ask you my last question, can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Oh, for sure. So you can find me at ruthmaryallen.com on the internet, or search for at Ruth Mary Allen on any social media platform. And I'll be happy to answer any questions people have. Just connect with me through those means.
Brilliant. And my last question for you, my friend, what does it mean to you to be unbroken?
That is such a great question. Do you know, I think to be unbroken is to be able to show up with all of your scars, with all of your marks of life, and be proud of who you are, and be able to share those scars with pride, because it's got you to the person that you are and want to be, um, today and tomorrow. And so I think that's really what is thinking unbroken is just giving yourself permission to be you, and permission to wear those scars and not feel like you have to hide them.
I love that. Thank you so much for being here, my friend. Unbroken Nation, thank you so much for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, tell a friend. And until next time, my friends, be unbroken. I'll see ya. Hey, Unbroken Nation, we'll be right back to the show, but I wanted to let you know that you can grab a copy of my first book, Think Unbroken: Understanding and Overcoming Childhood Trauma, for free. If you go to book.thinkunbroken.com, you can download the PDF ebook version of the book and get everything that I know about the baseline of healing trauma for free, downloaded to your email right now. Just go to book.thinkunbroken.com to download your copy of Think Unbroken: Understanding and Overcoming Childhood Trauma for a PDF for your phone. Again, that is book.thinkunbroken.com. Thank you so much for listening to Think Unbroken. Please share this episode with someone who could use it and help us move forward in our mission of ending generational trauma in our lifetime. And if you would, please take 5 seconds to pop on iTunes or Spotify, hit that 5-star, leave a review, and you can also reach out to us on social at Michael Unbroken or at Think Unbroken. And of course, you can check out our YouTube channel at Think Unbroken. Thank you for being a part of Unbroken Nation, my friends. And until next time, be unbroken. Hey, my friends, we will be right back to the show. But I have a question for you. Are you struggling with the impact of childhood trauma? Well, know that you're not alone. I'm here to let you know that I'm starting a brand new weekly coaching group that includes a year of live coaching, accountability, support, habit and goal setting, and more. I'm starting a waitlist for the group right now, and I'm only taking a handful of people. And I'll let you know that through this personalized coaching, we'll work together to help you understand how your childhood trauma has shaped your beliefs, behaviors, emotions, and will help you create a roadmap for healing and growth. Right now, you can schedule an absolutely free coaching session with me and get put on the wait list if you go to thinkunbroken.com. My friends, it's your time to turn your trauma into triumph, breakdowns into breakthroughs, and become the hero of your own story. And I'm here to support you in doing that. Just go to thinkunbroken.com to register for a free coaching call with me and to get put on the wait list for the brand new weekly coaching program.